What's up, people? Welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Chishi Zed.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
I had absolutely no plans of actually addressing this situation, but this thing has gotten pretty ridiculous. And of course, I'm talking about the Pop the Balloon guy situation. The title of the video that we're about to get into that was just published by MTR reads, showed up to his Pop the Balloon guy stream and things went left. And we also have the person who I believe was running the stream, Duke the Don. Now I'm going to have the link in my description and of course to both their channels. So let's get into this. All right, so before we check out this video, if you're wondering, because I know some of you may be wondering, Shisha, why haven't you actually spoken about this particular situation? This really comes down to where I'm at and where I believe my channel is at this point in time, and the trajectory of where I want to take the brand that I've built. It all comes down to authenticity. The reason that I did not publish a video on this particular topic from the very beginning was because I actually believe that this type of a video and the setup, the balloon, the dating show thing they have going on there is not mature enough for my audience. By the way, if I did release that video, here's what's interesting. I actually recorded the video. I recorded the video, immediately came out. I recorded the video when I saw it published on Spiritual Word. A bunch of people were sending me the video and I was like, oh yeah, I already recorded this video. But due to the process I have when it comes to actually releasing videos, it didn't make the cut, specifically because I'm taking a different direction and making sure that the content I produce targets a particular type of person who is in a particular time in his life. And even though this video would have gotten me a bunch of views, and there are plenty of other videos that are full of drama and excitement, and I've done videos in the past. But as my audience is maturing and I'm maturing in my life, I have to be authentic, guys. It's the only way I can keep on releasing content. When I talk about a more mature audience, I am not saying whatsoever that anybody who released that video is immature or their audience is immature. No. I'm talking about authenticity and being a practitioner. As you guys know, I am currently married. I've been honest from the very beginning. When I first started doing this content thing, I was honest about dating, but I was also honest about eventually getting married. A lot of people thought I was joking, and I did. For me to keep on creating content and be authentic, I have to believe in the shit that I'm talking about. What do I mean? I'm not going to be the guy who's teaching you how to date and navigate the dating market while I'm mad. I'm not going to be that 40-year-old dude who's has a ring on his finger, right? Retired his jersey and is over here talking about shoot your shot, nephew. No, I've already decided I have to be authentic. In order for me to produce the best content, I have to focus on topics that align with my life. I am a practitioner like you. I was once a viewer. Then I went from viewing this content to talking about my experience dating. And now I've just released a community of men who uphold the value of marriage. And the truth is, if I did release that video, while I probably would have gotten a lot of views, my core audience would have probably looked at that and said, why the hell is he on a dating show looking for a serious relationship in the first place? And I think when it becomes real and that is your goal in real life, you want real life scenarios, you want coffee.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
All right, guys, no more wasting time. Let's get it.
The conversation that I have during that live stream while Abba and Preach, Abba and Preach still thought that he got fired too. I still thought he got fired because he's just outright lying.
We did that too because we don't know. We didn't know, right? Because that's what everybody was running with. So I'll give you that. We all got bamboozled on that part.
So here's the thing, bro. So a lot of people are trolling me now because of the 5-hour live stream. When in reality, if I didn't do the 5-hour live stream, he wouldn't have been exposed this early.
Yo, MTR, come on up, bro.
Dude, what up, baby?
What's good, MTR? Welcome to the stream, bro. We gotta talk about this because,
bro, let's talk about it. I want you to ask whatever question that you want.
It's gonna happen, bro, because you got covered in shit on this one, bro.
Now, listen. I'm all for taking the L. You know what I'm saying? But just like I said at the end of the video, it's not about taking the L. It's what you do after the L. All right. So I gotta stand over here with egg on my face because I did something that I absolutely. But Duke, you did just say something I want to circle back to. You said he didn't fool you. My art. See, here's the thing. He fooled everybody. How? He lied about about getting fired. He lied. So he lied. And here's the thing. Abba and Preach, they like the conversation that I have during that live stream about Abba and Preach. Yeah. Abba and Preach still thought that he got fired too. I still thought he got fired because he's just outright lying.
We did that too because we don't know. We didn't know, right? Because that's what everybody was running with. So I'll give you that. We all got bamboozled on that part.
So here's the thing, bro. So a lot of people are trolling me now because of the 5-hour live stream. When in reality, if I didn't do the 5-hour live stream, he wouldn't have been exposed this early.
So what I'm trying to figure out right now is, do we just have a man who's just a compulsive liar? Like he's just lying about everything. There's no telling what's real. There's no telling if he even if those were props, right? If that was a Halloween outfit that he had on there in that photo. Because if that's the case, I think most likely if you even believed he had a job in the first place, then we were all tricked. When I heard that he got fired from his job based on what he said, I said, well, that's not right. That's me assuming that he actually had a job, right? Let's keep listening.
I'm the first one to do it with the help of Queen of Accountability. Let me give her a just due. Between me and her together, besides this, everyone's commenting like, oh, look at his behavior. He's probably a scammer. No,
but there were MTR. There were other channels who were coming out with information on this guy already, right?
I'm the first one. I'm the first one to say that he never got fired from anything. That he made that story up.
You said that, but I would say the only one thing that I'll give you credit, your live stream credit for, and I did do that in my first video on this, was that he exposed himself on your live streams. The criticism I have for you is that you didn't go crazy on her. Like you didn't go crazy on it because like it was like there were certain things like okay, so the first part where he said, oh, absolutely not. My ex was lying about me ever putting my cell phone there in the car. And then like you asked the question again, but you were almost like you were polite about it, but you were still asking the question. And he's like, oh, well, yeah, I did do that one time. Yeah, I did.
Now, dude,
it was just like
I get you. And I accept it. Dude, I accept the criticism, but would we have gotten as much information if I shut him down?
He probably would have crashed out on you. We probably
stopped.
Right.
All right. So listen, we 3 levels deep, baby.
Okay, so I want to address something real quick. There's something I've actually seen repeated over and over again. And I've heard it said towards MTR, and I think it says it later on in this video, but we're probably not going to get that far. I'm not going to react to the whole thing. Of course, you can go check out the whole video on MTR's channel. But people have this perspective when it comes to male content creators in male spaces where they'll say, well, they are biased towards women. When I hear that, if that was directed to me personally, my response would be, yes. You're right. I do have a bias against noticing what might be problematic characteristics, attributes, red flags for a healthy relationship that align with my own personal values. And guys, you have to understand that we all have biases. So this idea that, oh, you're nicer towards men. Yeah. When it comes to this thing of dating and relationships, this is a channel specifically geared towards helping men navigate the current dating market. And for me, where I can really help out men as a practitioner is helping them approach it from a man who is caffeinated, and men find benefit in that. Every man and woman watching this right now has their biases. You have your biases based on where you come from. That changes the way you interact with certain types of people. You have your biases when it comes to topics like this, depending on your experience and who you have dated. Now, as a good content creator, because the viewers just don't want somebody who's always taking the man's side. Oh, this guy's incapable of being objective. I think when it comes to the viewers who, especially your core fan base, they judge you based on your general trend of character, not just your isolated deeds, but your general trend of character. In most cases, when it's time for you to call out a man in a situation and what he's doing wrong, are you calling that man out? And from what I've seen, I started out watching content creators like MTR. From what I've seen, I believe he does that. And the excellent content creators who I have learned from, I notice will even go out of their way to make sure they put display of problematic behavior from a man. I've done that a few times when I've seen something. I've been like, yo, there are men out here who act like this, exhibit A. And I'm going to react to this just so my audience knows where I stand, and I do not agree with this in particular. And then there's a question of all you guys talk about is women. Okay, well, that like that's what this is. You know what I mean? Like, do you go to a personal trainer and be like, dude, all you do is work out? What's wrong with you? But what I personally believe is, as media has become more up close and personal, people have built stronger connections with hosts or the faces of certain brands, podcasters, whatever you want to call them. But with that comes a higher expectation. Sometimes it's unrealistic. Sometimes it's understandable. Let me give you an example. No one goes to Fox, CNN, NBC and says, every day you guys report on problems left and right. Where are all the solutions? No, you've accepted that that's what you get when you go there. And that is where they specialize in, is raising awareness. And if you want help with personal emotional issues, you go to a therapist. If you want help with preparing and dating for marriage, instead of talking about just a bunch of terrible modern women, you click the link pinned to the top of the comment section and join Brew Brothers, because we're only accepting 50 new members at a time. Yeah, you like how I did that. But not every channel will be your one-stop shop to make sure it serves everything you need. And these channels do have focuses, and I do have a bias. And as much as I try majority of the time, as I should, to make sure I correct that, we are all vulnerable to once in a while being blinded by our biases based on the things we are passionate and strongly believe. And in this case, I believe that MTR has a strong passion for wanting to help out men, especially younger men. And he was genuine in his approach to try and give that man some help. And you'll be surprised how much that passion can blind you towards seeing certain things. I'm sorry. I know we're like 3 minutes in and I'm still talking, but I think this is such an important thing to learn as a content creator, because I've made that mistake plenty of times. I've made videos where I've come back and go, hey guys, I was wrong. I went too hard on that chick. After reassessing what you guys had to say, Shisha Zed, had to drink some coffee. It was bitter. It wasn't easy, but I had to drink some coffee. I even remember when, you guys remember the situation with Fresh and Fit and the Daisy chick and ABBA coming out. And I said, you know, Fresh is an example of what not to do. He's become a mascot of what not to do and has lost a lot of credibility. But you guys remember one thing I said is, to me, that chick looks like a gold digger, right? She looks like she most likely is a sex worker. And if I remember correctly, ABBA didn't think the chick was a sex worker, and he thought she was genuine in her love and all this and that, until he actually had to come on camera and say, hey, apparently she actually is a sex worker, or they might be proof to show that. I never delved deeper into what proof they might have had, but he said that. And she also started to hit on him and shoot her shot to him, and she convinced herself that they had something. And somebody could say, well, ABBA, why didn't you see? Why didn't you realize? We're all prone to that, guys. In ABBA's case, I believe his passion for wanting to see Fresh and Fit fall and suffer the consequences of them trying to put strikes on their channel. And I don't know anybody in this space personally, but I don't blame him. If anybody tried to strike down my channel, 3 strikes, your channel's gone. You have become an enemy at that point. I understand. Now, I'm thankful no one has actually attempted to do that. But my main point here, guys, is the passion. Passion can be blinding. Either if you're passionate about helping somebody out in a cause, you're going to have some blind spots. You will sometimes undercorrect where you should have been objective, missed something. And I just think this is what that is, plain and simple. And at least speaking for myself, there'll be more situations where I have to come back and be like, you know what, guys, you were right. I was wrong. Let's keep listening.
I don't. He probably would have crashed out on you. We probably
Come
just
on.
got content.
All right. So listen, you know, we 3 levels deep, baby.
Okay, so let me ask you,
we 3 levels deep.
Why is it though that you gave him such a big you gave him such a big leeway? Because you did. You can't just sit there and deny that, because a lot of people will
Well, because Duke, I thought at that time, just like everybody, that he got fired because he was an asshole. I legitimately thought that. You legitimately thought that. I've been preached everybody legitimately thought that. Because at the time now mind you, this all happened on Friday. Today's Monday. So there was 3 days later where now I release a video that's just like, all right, he got me. Because I believed him. Now, like, if you want to criticize me because I believed him that he really got fired, then you just said a second ago that you believed it as well.
But MTR, we're going back to the firing. I agree with you on that. We got bamboozled on that. But I'm talking about like some of the other things that he said that clearly proved that this guy, he wasn't 100%. He lied to you like 4 times. Not just you. He lied to you and your fans like multiple times. Some of the people in your fan base, they caught it. Like, look, you would look at the.
They did.
They were like, "Oh,
it's smart fan base."
Even when he was talking about the baby, talking about I can't answer that with that person.
Yeah.
If you want to come, has a baby, present them. Like even your chat was like, "Yo, this nigga lying." He lying through his mouth. But like the thing is, that's when you come in and say, "Okay, all bets are off." The energy that you have in this video we reacting to, that was the energy that was needed right then and there in that 5-hour live stream, right?
But looking at the context of the whole stream, right? He all of the things that he told me, because Lord knows what's true at this point. He has deep issues, and I commented many times how many deep, traumatic, toxic background. He's going to have toxic relationships going into the future. He starts naming all this toxic shit, but also at the same time, he's saying that the chick is lying. The Latino chick is. By the way, let me also say this as well. I apologize wholeheartedly to the Latina chick. I apologize wholeheartedly. The things that I said during that stream at that time, it's not something that I should have said, and I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that at all. So I
got to be honest with you guys. And also to MTR. Shout out to MTR for actually taking time to interview the guy, but only got through like half of that stream. So I don't think I even heard this part he's talking about. Let's keep listening.
Do take those things back. I actually had a conversation with the young lady a couple of hours ago, and I apologize to her face to face. So I will say that. So I will say that. At the same junction, though, his shit is just full of toxicity. So I'm just like hearing this shit, and I'm just like, God damn. Now, but Duke, I don't know, of the 5 hours, how much have you seen? Many of those times when he would say something like that, I said that's wrong. You know that, right?
Yeah,
like the tractor in the car.
Yeah, we gave you props for that. No, we were completely 100%. We gave you props for that. I don't put you in that category of like scammers and whatnot. Like you're not gonna see me, criticizing you on like courses and whatnot. Because again, you're a legitimate person. You got a degree in business and whatnot. If you decide to give a program or a course on business and whatnot, it is like you have that experience to do that. Like you got an MBA or something like that. Like I won't put you in that category, right? But it's mainly stuff like this that we talk about, where it seems like you're giving guys like this a huge leeway where it doesn't need to be. And some of because you got a huge percentage of fans that are women too.
All right. So on the topic of Duke the Don saying that MTR was giving the Pop the Balloon guy too much leeway, here's what I personally think. Because one thing I haven't said is, I know some of you guys may be thinking like, Chisha, what was your reaction when you first saw the video of the guy? It wasn't that deep, bro. It really wasn't that deep. I saw the video and I said, he's too emotional. I laughed at a couple of things he said because some of that shit was funny. Let's not act like some of that shit wasn't funny. I'm just looking at the hair on your arms, queen. I laughed at that. I saw that he was getting combative with the women, but to me, it was a joke, bro. It was the whole thing to me. I was just laughing from beginning to end. I thought this was just funny, but it felt silly. By the time I was done, I said, this is some silly shit. It felt like a guy who got in there and said, I'm going to match these girls' energy no matter what. He's giving them the stare down, up and down. You don't qualify, queen. Of course, if you know my content, I would encourage men not to act that way towards women. Because just even going back and forth with the woman to that extent, to me, is way too much energy And if you're doing that in real life, I've said this before, asking women what they bring to the table, asking them if they're submissive and feminine on dates, and you're arguing back and forth. I don't even have time to explain to you after releasing 3,000 plus topics where I touch on that over and over again. So shout out to MTR for his patience, but I don't even have the time if somebody was to disagree with me and be like, nah, bro, it's okay to go back and forth. I'm gonna keep it real. If you have time for that, have a blast. But after recording that video, I looked at it and I was like, seems kind of childish. I released another video where I talked about, this is a video where I felt like I went too deep into a story and I felt embarrassed. I literally was uploading like a third part to, it's the baby mama in Atlanta story. It wasn't until I released like all 3 parts, I sat there. I was like, why am I talking about this dude who has 8 baby mamas and they're all arguing about him on TikTok? And something about that just, I felt like, why am I giving this much attention and time? And I definitely took note of that and try to do that less. Does it happen once in a while? It does. MTR seems like he's more serious now more than ever about helping men positively improve their lives for the better. He has been doing that, but it just seems like he's taken that up a notch. And when you do that, you're vulnerable to men who might take advantage of that. Are you making excuses for MTR? No. I believe he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, which is drinking coffee and being accountable. And like I said before, I don't believe most people judge just based on isolated deeds. Of course, depending on the degree of that. If you're out here and you're like, I just murdered one person, of course, everyone's like, oh, no, hold up. But in most cases, most people judge based on your general trend of character. Now, if that person's general trend of character is problematic, that is a different type of issue and situation. The good thing about life is people do reveal themselves over time and then also suffer the consequences. The last thing I want to do real quick is just show you guys some of the stuff that goes on in the Brew Brothers. And so this post that I'm about to read came from a brother in the community of men that uphold the value of marriage in our modern day. He wrote this: given the situation with Aaron, in parentheses, Pop the Balloon Guy, has attracted so much attention, I want to share something with you that I believe can serve as a lesson for all of us, especially those who are in the process of choosing a woman to start a family with. He goes on to say, I want to make it clear that the goal of this post is not to ridicule or belittle any of these women, but to give my subjective opinion on an aspect that I think can help us all. We all desire women whose characteristics include beauty. However, over time, we learn that it is not the most important quality in a woman, nor should it be the basis of our final decision. He goes on to write, all these women are physically attractive, generally speaking. But if we were to be specific, numbers 1, and I have the chicks down here, right? I have the chicks down here so you guys can see. He goes on to say, numbers 1, 2, 6, and 10 are different from the rest. So he's talking about number 1, 2, 6, and 10 are different from the rest. So he goes on to talk about modesty. He says, if you look at modesty, numbers 3, 8, he says, but she twerked in the introduction video. He says, and 10. So he's saying 3, 8, and 10. They are modest, right? He goes on to say, if we consider femininity, numbers 1, 2, and 10. So 1, 2, and 10. I'm glad he pointed both modesty and femininity, because just because a woman dresses modest doesn't mean that she's necessarily in her feminine energy, or she's deliberately making steps to make sure she stays in that feminine energy. All right. For example, the chick in the blue, if I remember correctly, she was the most masculine, I would say, out of all these other women. She was the one that was willing to take it there with that man. The post goes on to say, that being said, number 10, the 22-year-old woman has characteristics and attributes with which a man can work and strive. And so he's saying number 10, from the perspective of modesty and femininity, has the best combination. What do you guys think? Comment down below. Goes on to say, remember, every relationship requires effort. But as men, we must learn to be realistic and identify the type of woman who is truly worth the hustle. Many times we end up giving our attention and effort to women who are merely satisfying our visual appetite. Being a man means knowing that although number 1 and 2 are attractive women, they will be a headache in the long run.
This coffee. Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
There's some truth to that for sure. There's some truth to that for sure. These chicks you guys see out here, these 10s, and they know they are bad. A lot of these chicks think that that's all they have to bring to the table and make the worst type of women for not just even just a marriage, but just long-term relationships. He goes on to say, why did I choose number 10? Beyond her beauty, she's feminine and modest. She carries herself with dignity. And when she answered those guys, she doesn't try to belittle them, but addresses them with respect. I do remember that. And of course, we are considering our very limited understanding of these women. Let's remember that one of the most important decisions a man can make in life is the woman he chooses to marry and start a family with. We must learn to exercise our discernment constantly. P.S. We all have flaws, but we know that some flaws are easier to handle than others. P.S. My opinion is based solely on what I saw in the video. We know the reality outside those videos can be different. You know what? Me reading this and listening to the nuances in the way this was outlined, the way this guy speaks, just shout out. Shout out to the Brew Brothers and just this high quality post here, because he's touching on everything I'm thinking about. I actually didn't remember that he actually added this here at the very end. He ends the post with asking the question, which woman do you think would be worth the effort? I would like to hear your opinions. And of course, we voted in the community. And if you'd like to see the results of those votes, then you can request to join by hitting the link pinned to the top of the comment section. Appreciate you guys. As always, till next time, I'm out.